how would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have Anthony Franco with us, which is a serial entrepreneur and a podcast host, fellow podcast host. Amazing. His podcast is How to Founder. So Anthony, tell us, what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs in order to achieve the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Wow, we're gonna jump right into it. All right. So, the first 5, I don't know if there's steps or but you need to do these in order. So I would say first you need to clearly define who your ideal customer is, and then solve a problem, solve a pain. Figure out how you're gonna figure out their pain, and then figure out a way that you're going to solve it. Then you need to validate that your assumptions, right? You got to, which is essentially validate your product market fit, and you got to do that quick. Then you have to figure out, how are you going to gain awareness? What's your go-to-market strategy? How are you going to build customers? So problem, then you figure out your customer problem, make sure that you have a good fit to solve their pain. Then you focus on a clear go-to-market strategy. Then you sell. You have to sell, you have to test your sales process. And I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs do this even before they have a service or product. They'll develop a landing page. They'll start making phone calls. They'll ask their friends. And you got to see if you can get somebody. That doesn't necessarily mean open their wallet, but that email address, ask them to connect with you, follow you on a social media. So can you get people? Then you actually have to sell your first customer, then your next 10, then your next 10. Then you, like, once you figured out like the hand-to-hand combat of getting somebody to a wallet, do that a bunch of times to learn, and then you can scale to mass market. Those are my top 5.
Anthony, tell us why you decide to become an entrepreneur. Do you have an entrepreneur in your family? Do you read any book? Any friend? Were you in this idea to become an entrepreneur? No, even worse, serial entrepreneur. You know, already having a business is busy. I had owned several of them, and definitely you don't get bored. So where do you got that inspiration from?
I wouldn't put it. It was the only way I could earn a living. I'm a terrible employee.
Me too.
So it was it was survival, nothing more. So that's at least the way I'd started. That's how I started, is trying to just put food on the table.
But any inspiration, maybe Anthony, a friend or a family member, a book, a TV show. I mean, we all entrepreneurs, we have it within ourselves. It's within our genes, and it's something that doesn't come from inheritance. It's something that we just born with that. But that gene is inside.
Yeah, I think if you come from money,
what sparked it? Yeah. What really sparked?
Yeah, I think if you come from, you have some advantages and disadvantages for entrepreneurship. You have the advantage of resources and an entrepreneurial parent that can guide you through the way, but also you may hunger required to do this stupid thing called entrepreneurship. Inspiration goes, I'm really trying to, I don't in my life that I was close to, that was I was always the odd duck in the family, the one that didn't want to hold a regular job, like when I did have, you know, my regular high school.
No entrepreneurs in your family? Zero? No entrepreneurs in your family? Zero?
Nothing. Zero. Yeah, it was more just about not always discontented with my bosses, right? Why are we doing it this way? Why the burger that way? Why do we, like I question everything. And finally, I just easier to work with me as the boss because now I have to question myself. I think it also made me a better leader because I think I try to explain and justify decisions behind things so I can attract people that are more like me that want to ask why.
Anthony, welcome to the club. Yeah, I'm on your same boat, so I understand you 100%. I was a terrible employee. I only work, I think, yeah, in London, I work only 4 years. I've been an entrepreneur for 18 years and in Spain for 5 years, right? So my total, when I was young back in the day, but yeah, I always wanted, I get you 100%. Only wanted to do the things on my way. I only want to uh to try whatever job was assigned to me in a different way. I wanted to do it my way. Maybe it was not the right way, but it was a way that I thought, and that didn't work. You see, I have to do it something specific that it was telling to me all the time, and I hate it so much, Anthony, that yeah, I end up like this also by because I didn't have a choice. However, Anthony, because I've been there, there is also was no entrepreneurs in my family, just my grandparent and my grandfather, and he died when I was very young, and I was so I couldn't get any influence or anything. So what happened when you say to your family, because I've been there, that you're gonna quit your job and you're gonna do your own business? What happened with family and friends? Because what happened to me is that when it comes to the family, my mom I got a degree in chemical engineering, and she's saying, well, I was working as software developer in Spain for 5 years, and after I
You're
quit,
throwing it all away.
I went to London and I started to work in a pub. And my mom was on top of me telling me, you go degree in chemical engineering, working as a waiter in the pub. What a disgrace. Come back to Spain and find a proper job. This and that. So her daddy and cousin said, this is crazy. Doesn't make sense. And then also, then I go out with the friends and I go for a drink and I say, guys, you won't believe I have this business. You can make money. I'm doing this and this, and nobody cares. No one cares. I'm thinking, oh my God, I got a big challenge with my family already, and now I'm gonna lose I already lost all my friends. Nobody cares about what I do. They couldn't care less. So no friends, no family, and then with no business experience by your own, starting your own business, try to make this work. You know how hard it is, Anthony. You've been there. So tell me your experience. Um, do you feel lonely? What do you have any support, at least from your family? Somebody say, okay, you know what, Anthony, okay, I'm gonna give you 2,000, whatever
Um,
idea you have. I don't care, you might be crazy, but I support you. Or how was it?
no, that doesn't. So you nailed it. Being an entrepreneur is exceptionally lonely. It's why I do my podcast. It's because I've been fortunate enough to go through. I've started 7 companies, exited 6 of them,
Wow, very
and
impressive, Anthony. Very
uh,
impressive. Well
you-
done.
or I'm very broken. But the it is undeniably lonely, and the only thing that makes it better, right? The only thing that can cure that loneliness, it's not your family, it's not your spouse, it's not your employees, it's not your close circle of friends, it's other founders. It's
Mhm.
other entrepreneurs. They're the only ones that can really understand what you're going through. You can't talk to your employees about I'm not sure if I'm going to make payroll next month. Like you can't have it with your wife, right? Certainly can't have it with your wife. Can't have it with your investors. So the only person that you can commiserate with is somebody that has gone that, or at least understands your frame of reference and where you're coming from, understands how hard leadership is and how hard being the single point of failure for your business.
Oh my God,
So family, no. And I early on in my entrepreneurial career, I didn't quit my job. And I don't recommend quitting your job as an entrepreneur. Go
I
start a
agree with
side
you.
hustle.
I agree with you
Yeah, go start a
100%.
side hustle. Do it in the nights and weekends. First of all, if you don't want to work nights and weekends and you'd rather play Xbox, then you're not an entrepreneur. That's okay. It's totally okay. If you're not entrepreneurial, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are, then you have to turn off the TV, you have to turn off the game, you have to set down your phone, and you have to go to work in your spare time. There's no work-life balance. So do it as a side hustle, and see if you can make it work. See if you can sell stuff, and see if you can make a product that people want to buy, and great entrepreneurship.
Anthony, I think that being a founder, I remember exactly one point that you touched. I remember my first business was a property business. We managed to sell over 5 million. And I remember, Anthony, days that I had to go to the office smiling in front of my team and the staff, and I only have 10 pounds in a bank account. 10 pounds. I was there in London. And I have 177 tenants. So imagine that I had to provide heat and then I had the employees. And growing a business, expanding the business, sometimes you have these cash flow issues, and that is somebody pay you a little bit late, and few payments go late, and then you had other payment you had to make that you cannot miss. You are in this big gap, and I remember going to the office, smiling exactly as you described, right? And with who I'm talk to, I couldn't talk to anybody. Nobody, exactly like you said, definitely not your wife, definitely not your employees, definitely not the clients. So,
Well,
and
your
I
wife
do.
didn't sign. Your spouse didn't sign up for this, right? Your employees didn't sign up for the turmoil of being an entrepreneur. It's almost unfair to be overly transparent. It's your burden to bear the stress, not the people that are in your care.
Okay, now that we go in this, now let's go deeper, Anthony, because you see, this kind of, we call it stress, this process that we go through, right? Sometimes sometimes no, for sure generate negative emotions, right? You have a stress, you cannot sleep, you're thinking, I'm doing something wrong, maybe I should heal my family, or my friends were right, I shouldn't be in business. Is sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's a week that you are in this situation, but in this week a lot go through your mind until things kind of sort out. And this negative emotion, Anthony, I realized that if we don't canalize, it can end up in physical emotion, can end up with physical pain. People can end up with cancer, heart attack. I interviewed one entrepreneur in this broadcast that he has 3 business that they were turning over £1 million each. And the guy was vomiting blood. And he told me in this podcast, he told me, Harry, look, I arrived to a conclusion that I'm running this business. The business is not running me. And he went 1 year traveling to Thailand. You have been through this process. I mean, you have 6 exits. So you've been in this process, not one time, several times. It might become easy because entrepreneurship is a skill. The more you practice, the better you become. Still, this process is there. So when do you find out, Anthony, that you also have to work on yourself, that you also have to start a podcast and start to, because only entrepreneurs can talk to entrepreneurs and understand entrepreneurs, nobody else. So when you arrive to the conclusion that you have to start to work on yourself and you have to find any way to let that go, how was this process?
I don't find so for me, something you said to me, and that is entrepreneurship as I navigated through it. So after several companies, become set in your ways, and if you're doing it right, and you can lose your edge and your hunger very easily. Entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship is easy. And so when you start having things to lose, especially things like, or you're not married yet, like you have nothing to, might as well do it. You might as well just go. But as you get more set and come and enjoying the life outside of work, it makes. And then you said work on yourself. So I don't know many entrepreneurs. I take that back. That I'm not conscious about working on myself. Like I don't do the meditation, and I don't go on retreats, and I don't like I'm not that person. And I'd probably be a much better entrepreneur if I was, right? But I'm naturally always trying to self-deprecate or look for things where I'm making a mess of things. Look for ways where I can do better. So I'm naturally curious. It's innate in me to go, all right, how can this be better? This isn't good enough. Like I do that with the work. I do that with my company. I do that with myself. So I'm not always looking to, I'm not looking for ways to improve myself because it's just who I am. I just am always looking to be better and better and better. And then the other thing you mentioned
for
is
you,
dealing
Anthony,
with the stress.
Basically, Anthony, it's easy for you to let go, right? That's amazing skill.
I wouldn't say easy. I would not say easy. Look at there's spectrums on entrepreneurship, right? There's the day-to-day stuff, the things that you're having to plug. There's not a lot of emotion in the day-to-day stuff. And then you have really big wins. All three of those things are true for entrepreneurs. Really big positives, really big negatives, boredom of the day-to-day. And that regulation of the that's the emotion that actually helps you make progress. The emotion and the excitement on wins, and the emotion and the stress and the anxiety on the losses do you no good. Neither do. So, but you have to feel it, right? You have to go through it. So I time box it. This is what I do. I know other entrepreneurs do different things, but I time box it. If I have a really big win, I give myself, at the most, if it's a really big win, I give myself a day and a half to celebrate it and to like pat myself on the back. If I have a big loss, I give myself no more than a day to sulk, right? To live in it, to feel the anxiety. And then it's like, all right, now what's next? And that's whether or not
Anthony,
you're winning
but what you do?
or losing.
You watch a movie, you go out for a walk. What you do? You have to do something in a bad day. When you have this bad day that, your key employees quit because, I don't know, got a problem that was out of your control, or when you make a decision and wow, this didn't work, and the business took a hit, and you feel responsible because you're responsible for everything.
That's everyday stuff.
Yeah.
That's everyday stuff.
Or something huge. What you do? You watch TV, you go for a walk. How you let that go?
Amazon cuts your sales in half overnight, right? Like you in half overnight, or and you find out an employee is stealing from you, or
happened to me being there.
You close and exit, right? You sell. So how do I deal with?
No, the winnings, Anthony. The winnings are amazing. The bad ones. The bad day. Yes, the bad one. What you do?
For me, it's food. Sit down, I grab a tub of ice cream, I sit and watch Netflix for the day, right? Like completely let my mind zone out. And
I watch Netflix too. It helped me. Yeah. I walk a lot, but also
it does. But if you do that for too long,
Yeah, no.
For too long, you identify as that person. So you gotta allow yourself pleasure is for a very short time and then get back to it.
Yeah, this Anthony have been a skill as well. I think at least for me at the beginning, you see, I was because we don't have any reference. We don't have anybody that tell us, look, it's okay, tomorrow's gonna be fine, and it's okay that you make a mistake, and it's okay this and it took me a while.
Tomorrow may not
took
be
me
fine.
a while dealing. Yeah, so cool.
Tomorrow may not be fine.
But I agree with you.
But the problem is that there's no backup plan but you. Like, you are the backup plan. It may suck. And the next year may suck. But
no one is coming, Anthony, to save you, right?
Help your way out of it.
Nobody's coming to save
you. You have to go do it. So put your big boy pants on, pull up your bootstraps, and first step, what's the first thing that I can do to make this pain a little bit less? And then the next thing. It's trite, but it's
at the beginning, Anthony, because I didn't know, nobody taught me how to be entrepreneur. I didn't know that we're gonna have these failures, and I had to deal with this. And I remember I was angry, and I was not sleeping well. I was angry with myself, and I'm angry with myself. Then I'm angry with with everybody that talks. So everybody's looking at me angry. The angry, the team, the clients. And I'm so upset with myself. I'm so upset with myself, like I make a mistake, and now everybody's suffering because of me. Meaning, you see, transaction was renting houses. I took a property that it was not as profitable as I thought, and now everybody's suffering, right? Because I had to keep the clients the same standard of the other property that cost more money. And then the team need to go there and work more because we have another property, but then I cannot pay them more because the property actually doesn't generate the income that I can. So everybody's stuck with my decision, the clients, the business, the team, and everything. And I'm like, why I did that? And it used to last a lot, like exactly like you said, next day is not gonna be okay, right? And sometimes it took months. So have been a very long journey for me to let that go in a way that to don't be so hard on myself. And I think that's the key why you're so successful, right? That you handling this part of your mental health very well, meaning, okay, you go to see Netflix for 1 hour, you have an ice cream or whatever, but next day, that's it. You go back to it, and you will try your best to make it work. And and that's it. It was a problem need to be solved, and that's the end of it. Don't make a big deal. I was very good make a big deal. I'm making my thing run. Oh, and tell me stories in my mind. I was really good at that, to punish myself, but it didn't help. It was actually worse, Anthony. It was worse because then all that energy or that it somehow in the business can sense. Well, on the other hand, when I discovered that, and I started to let that go and to speak more with the team and so on. One day I arrived to the office and the team told me, Harry, go home. We don't need you anymore. We can run this business without you. Travel the world if you want. If you want, don't come here because you have nothing to do. You come to talk to us and you don't let us work. So why you don't do something? Why you don't travel the world, do something? I'm like, what? You don't need paper in the photocopy? I made myself obsolete in my own business. They literally sent me home. They said, don't come here. We know how to grow it. We know what to do. Go home, travel the world, whatever. And in fact, Anthony, when I was traveling, they used to run it better than I was around. It was very impressive, but I had to change. Something within me had to change. And I think
it's a joke almost for a lot of entrepreneurs. is I went on vacation and we landed the biggest client. And on vacation and this problem that we had got solved. And they don't mean it seriously. It's like, maybe I should go on vacation more. And reality is probably, yeah.
You are the problem. You are distracting
probably,
them.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that is a win, right? When you can when your team is saying we got this.
My general manager was telling me
it.
this all the time. My general manager was telling me, Harry, the only problem in this business is you. Just go. But it's
you have a team that can be that honest with you. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the truth was, Anthony, that I didn't want to be this boss that, you know, when the team go out, they don't tell me, you know. I couldn't stand this situation. You know, when you have companies and then everybody for work goes for a drink, and then they say, don't tell the boss, let's go out. Yeah, don't tell the I was thinking that was my worst nightmare, that the team go out for a drink or go out for a dance and they don't want me there. So within the company, I try to make myself in a way that that I'm part of them. I'm one of them. So because I'm saying anyway, I didn't have anybody else to go out with. Who else is gonna go out? So if I don't go out with them, with whom I'm gonna go out? So that was my worst nightmare. So, but somehow I give them more. You were talking about leadership. I want to ask you a question about this, because somehow I would kind of by accident, yeah, I was giving them in that process. I remember I do one day I put a sign in the office that said, okay, if you come to ask me a question, just bring 3 solutions. Okay, don't come to ask me anything without 3 solutions, because you guys are too many. You're gonna kill me. Because it was a point in the business, Anthony, that all the clients want to speak to me, 177, and all the team is coming to me to ask me questions. I'm thinking these people are gonna kill me when I sleep. That this is not gonna work like this. So when I did that, and they start to choose the solutions, I told them, okay, out of the 3 solutions, pick your favorite. If it doesn't work, we try something else. Not because I choose or you choose, we're gonna make any difference, because I don't know either. So they start to develop somehow this skill that be proactive, to the point that I make myself obsolete in my company. So what happened is I moved from entrepreneur to a leader, to someone that can inspire the other. But you didn't sign up for this, Anthony. Did somebody told you that now you have to be a leader apart from being an entrepreneur, and you have to develop leadership skills, and you have to become a great leader if you want your business to grow and to exit? I mean, if you're not a great leader, you won't be able to exit the business. So that's the end of it. I don't care what anybody telling me, you know, you have 6 exits. So no way, it's impossible if you don't become a great leader to achieve that type of result. So when do you realize that, oh my God, I have to start to learn how to be a great leader?
Well, look, I would say most companies don't need you to be doesn't need their owner to be an amazing leader. Most entrepreneurs, and I'm gonna caveat that quite. Most entrepreneurs run a business that like they do HVAC, heating and air conditioning, right, for home. That business, if it's 20 people and it's regional and it's never going to 20 or 30 people, that business can be run by just competent individual that doesn't need to read all the business and lead, that doesn't need to think beyond the next core, the next customer. That's a perfectly great run. That's not who I am. who you are. Like I want to grow things big. I want to scale. And in order to do that, in order to get beyond your first 20 employees, either you grow as a leader or you somebody in that can grow, that has been there and has the skills. I've seen this quite a bit where entrepreneurs, they want to, they keep getting in their own way from that scale because they can't get out of they can't enable their employees to make their own decisions. And honestly, that's hard to do. That's very difficult to do. It's very difficult to trust. And it's also really difficult to find people that can do the leading and the management of the day-to-day.
And sometimes, Anthony,
but yeah.
Sometimes, Anthony, in that process, you see, you have to learn as well, because it happened to me, employees that when you give them control, some of them, they were coming to me to tell me what's my job and what I have to do. And I had to tell them, look, you're a great employee and I give you a lot of freedom or whatever. However, you know, I founded this business. You are very good in a section that you're doing. And but in order for you to come to my office and tell me how I should run my business, if you start your own business and you reach it to this point, I will definitely accept that. I have a big problem with this, Anthony, because once I brought my dad to work in the business, my dad was giving me advice, business advice, and I'm not taking any advice from daddy, because he never run a business. And then an entrepreneur like you come and give me the advice, the same advice, then I'm taking the advice and implemented it, and then daddy come and tell me that I'm not listening. And why after 1 year or 2 years that Anthony told me I'm doing this, and he has been telling me for 2 years, and I'm not listening to him. So I do have a problem with when people said Harry don't listen. It's not about Harry don't listen. Is that I'm being trained to listen or to get advice for all fellow entrepreneurs, because I think that the advice, somebody had to be qualified to give you the advice. And maybe you have a different opinion about this. But saying that, you see, I have issues with the employees as well, that some of, when you start this process to trust them, to give them freedom, negative things happen. It's happened to me. It's not a process easy way. I have employees that stole from me a lot of money. I have employees coming to my office and tell me what I have to do and how I have to run the business. And if I don't do it on this way, they're going to quit, and they're going to tell all the employees to quit. That happened to me also. And you see,
that for me, that's an immediate, you're gone.
Yeah. So I had to get rid of people
junk,
and yeah.
If I have to, if it's
but
your
finding
way,
it works, but it was a process. It was a process. Yeah, it was no easy.
You cannot allow that kind of. Look, I don't allow that, because that's not how I operate. I don't go to the people that tell them do it my way or you're gone. It's a dance that you do with your employees. It's the people that choose to work with you. It's a negotiation. The entire thing is a negotiation. You work for you, and they're lucky they have a job, and you're constantly kind of balancing that power dynamic. But truthfully, in order to get people to do what you do, they have to buy into it. And if employees saying do it my way or I'm out, they're not doing their job of their idea in a way that matters. And also, they're not giving you the respect that it's like, look, things that you don't know about that I'm responsible for, that this will disrupt. Our job as entrepreneurs to do the best job we can to explain why we do the way it is. But ultimately, you need team members that can disagree with you, but still behind the decisions that you make. There's a big difference between consensus, which is meaning everybody's, and collaboration, which is everybody gets a say, but ultimately drive behind a decision that's made. And you can either make the right decision, or you can make the decision right. The people that can make the decision right are the people that you want on your team.
Culture, Anthony. In this broadcast, I asked a lot of entrepreneurs, what is your view? If you need to start all over again, what would you be different? What would you will do different? And they're telling me, Harry, if I knew that this is gonna be 10 times or 100 times harder than what I thought, I will pay more attention to culture. And I realized that when I have this issue with the employees, is that I was hiring people that they were not aligned with the culture of the company, right? Because I'm not this way. And how come someone is inside it's like a rotten apple inside the organization, which is a completely different way that how I want to be and how I want the company to be. So kind of by accident, I realized when I had these issues that when I'm bringing the new people, because this person actually needs to go, when the new employees come, to make sure first that if they are enrolled, they are aligned with the culture of the company and how we're going to operate. And then second, it was, to analyze the skills. But leader by leader, I realized that the culture was the key, because if they were enrolled in the culture of the company, like for example, Anthony, I've been 18 years business, and I never have any employee that come to me and tell me, Harry, this is not my job. You see, because since we hired them, look, we run. I like to run businesses, again like you, with a lot of money but very few people. That's how I like it. So for that,
that's not an unusual goal.
Yeah, but for that you need people that they are multitasking. For that you need people proactive. For that, even this podcast, I call my team and we say, okay, let's do a podcast, and they were telling me, Harry, what's that? I say, I don't know, I don't know. You guys need to figure it out. I don't know. And they told me, okay, give us 3 weeks and we will come back with something. And Anthony, after 3 weeks, they come back and told me, Harry, listen, just press the button, press the record button, upload the video to Dropbox, forget it. It will go to all your social media. It will go to Amazon. It will go to Spotify. We already developed the back end, it connect the feed. So they did something amazing. Still, I don't know what they did, but they figured out everything. But I realized, Anthony, that that's the culture that we operate, and that's the culture that we have been for a long time. So employees that they're enrolled in this culture, employees that they're proactive, employees that, they want to do different things, they love to work here. But other people that they say, okay, that's not my job, or the whatever, maybe other companies with different culture that are good for these people, no, not from my one, and I'm okay with it. So Anthony, culture, tell us your view, especially when somebody make a mistake, because someone can make a mistake. You don't have some time to hire everyone. Somebody in the chat, somebody bringing the people made a mistake, brought 2-3 people that the culture doesn't resonate with the culture of the company, and now you have to deal with it. For me, I'm a big fan of try to do my best, because I said as soon as someone is in, I'm responsible for it. So and I try my best to try to make this employee to fit into the culture, but sometimes, most of the time, Anthony, is not possible, because the values doesn't fix the values that we have in the company. So how you deal with this problem when somebody or with somebody make a mistake and bring an employee to your organization that it doesn't align with your values, with the culture?
That's so the mistake, first of all, ultimately the mistake is ours, right? When somebody is on board,
we are responsible for everything.
We haven't properly hire and properly communicated the value system that we hire against. Now, mistakes there, right? So even when you do a good job there, you can also go, made a mistake here. How do we not, first of all, how do we not make that mistake again? Where did we miss this? And then how do you deal with that person that's not a value fit? It depends on the stage of the company that you're in. So if you're an early stage company, you do not have the time, capital to put that person on a 3-month performance review plan. Like you just don't have that available to you. So you've got to cut the cord painfully and early. This isn't working out. Company that I talk to when hiring employees, everybody should have 90-day out clause. Like you have a 90-day trial period in this company to make sure your culture fit. So that should be your employment agreement. We have 90 days to start. We both have 90 days. You have 90 days to fit. We have 90 days to make sure you are a fit. Mm-hmm. And so stage, you cut the cord very quickly. If you're beyond 40 or 50 people, sometimes I've experienced this where you give somebody a chance and they turn it around. It's rare, but it does happen.
Happened to me also.
Those are really great people. So when you have the love investing into people that are struggling in their first few weeks to get their footing, can work out really well. Often it doesn't. And there are certain things that are there's certain things that are deal breakers, right? Things like and not even like stealing from the company, but lying to further in a company or saying negative things about other people further their career. Those things are like deal breakers for me. If it's a skill set, if it's a values thing, those are usually deal breakers. If it's a skill set thing and you've brought somebody on, you had them quit another job, you kind of have an obligation to give them a shot to get their skills in line with what your company needs.
Anthony, somebody's in love with our conversation. They want to hear. I definitely recommend everybody listening Anthony podcast. As you guys can see, he knows what he's talking about. And definitely a source of inspiration. So Anthony, can you please mention where people can find you, how this process works, and how they can listen to your podcast? Tell us a little bit more about this.
Yeah, thank you. So you can just go to howtofounder, HOWTO founder, FOUNDER.com. My podcast is there, my LinkedIn, like you can just click on my picture, and connect with me on LinkedIn. Follow the podcast on Apple Podcast, YouTube, and we talk about is we cover a different deep dive topic single episode. So our next episode, we go from napkin to $1 billion, right? So but we also talk about talk about very tactical things, reading a P&L. How do you attract and retain top talent? How do you, what do you do when an employee steals from you? How do you develop your noble cause? Like just every specific topic. Think of it as a chapter in the entrepreneurial handbook.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing, Anthony. Thank you so much. And with that note, see you guys in our next episode of Unstoppable, how brave entrepreneurs like Anthony break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.